Hi, folks. I'm Richard Friedman, and welcome back to my Trump cartoon countdown for October 10th, 2020. Good to see you back, folks. Hope you're all here with me as we were before the break and before starting the cartoon countdown, which is based upon the #1 most popular cartoons on Twitter, and that's how I gauge the most popular cartoons. And today I have the top 10 cartoons on Twitter to go over with you. And before I get to that, I just want to give you a kind of a synopsis of my books. I have some cartoon books that I thought some of you might like to purchase, and they've been reduced in price really significantly because of this situation. And so I've cut it as low as it can go. And I just wanted to show it to you. And here's my first book. It's the greatest book of political cartoons on the Trump presidency, with a flashback to the Democrat and Republican candidates of 2016. And it gives you the 2016 election, the Republican and Democratic candidates, and then it goes up to 2018, the issues of the Trump presidency in cartoons. So here's a sample cartoon that I picked out to show you. I figured make it brief and quick, give you a sampling of the kind of work I do on my books. Okay, this is President Trump, Trump's arrival. This is Trump's arrival in Buenos Aires, Argentina airport, to possibly a miraculous player compared to China's Xi Jinping, welcomed with a military band. So this is a Latin American country that President Trump went to, the reception he got, and this is the reception that the Chinese president got. So here we have the band. They rolled out a band for the Chinese president, and for President Trump, the same country, they had one guy playing the Caracas, and that was, see, so I wanted to kind of symbolize, things in general. And I say, you have presenters here with a sense of humor, and you decide. So that was it. Here's President Xi getting off the plane, and here's President Trump getting off the plane. Same country, different reception. Okay, so that was the first book I did. This is the second book, the greatest 2019 book of political cartoons on issues of the Donald J. Trump presidency. You can see it up here close. Okay, and pick cartoon. I want to pick out the brief ones. So here is Trump at his second State of the Union speech on North Korea, and VP Mike Pence's quiet thoughts of praise for the president's diplomatic achievements with North Korea, February 5th, 2019. So here's President Trump. Here we go. Here he is. And he's saying, read it there. Okay. If I hadn't been elected president of the United States, in my opinion, right now we would be in a major war with North Korea. And this was February 5th, 2019. So, and here's Vice President Pence's thoughts as he's sitting there, right behind the president, and he's saying to himself, just imagine President Trump saved us from a major nuclear war with North Korea. That could have been waging now for more than 2 years, you see, because he was president. So it's 2017, 2019. So this is halfway through his presidency, so we would have been in a nuclear war for at least 2 years. So that would be a long nuclear war. So that was my second book. And here's my third book, right here, the greatest 2019 book of political cartoons on issues of the Donald J. Trump presidency. And this was edition 2, July through December. Okay, so I wanted to show you this sample cartoon. Okay, here we go. All right, Trump planning his 4th of July celebration of America as the military tanks roll up to the steps of the military parade of the Lincoln Memorial in preparation for the president's replication of a grand military parades in other countries. So emulating other countries like North Korea, for instance, or any other militaristic regime you want to think of. And here is President Trump over here, and there is the memorial, and he's saying, this area is reserved, and there's the We the People Constitution, a tank going over the Constitution, you see? That's the Constitution driving We the People. The tank is driving over the Constitution of the United States. As I did that, and then President Trump says, this area is reserved for dignitaries, family, and friends. This will be a fantastic celebration of America. So this is actually what happened at the time. He roped off a certain area that was for the dignitaries and friends to take up close. Today'd be a death sentence, So times have changed. I'm just saying now, this was on July 3rd, 2019. Today you'd want to be way back there. You wouldn't want to be up front on any of these events. So times have changed. So that's a sampling, Okay, there's the tank going over the U.S. Constitution. So that's a sampling of my 3 books, and I have the 2020 book, which is really going to be something, and that's coming out in a couple of 2 or 3 weeks from now. 2 weeks, I would say, maybe a week, maybe 3. I don't know, between 1 and 3 weeks. Depends on how things go. I'm working on it hard, and so many things are happening. I hate to close the book, but I think it's important to get it out before the election. So I'm doing the best I can to time it as good as it can be timed. I want to get it out before the election. So anyway, here's the top 10 cartoons that I have. We missed a lot of cartoons, and so I picked out the top 10 in most recent times to show you today, and I'm not going to do a lot of reading and stuff. I'm going to try to go through them real brief as I can. So this is here. I'll show you this one first of all. I'd like to show you the cartoon, and you get a gist of what's going on here. This is Attorney General Barr having a dream. He's dreaming basically, and here he is. Let me just read the cartoon title. Attorney General William Barr has Ben-Hur movie nightmare. He watched the movie Ben-Hur before he went to sleep after he had a meeting with Trump. He went home and he watched the movie with Ben-Hur, and so this was following President Trump calling for the Attorney General to indict Biden or Obama on charges of spying on his campaign, saying, unless Bill Barr indicts these people for crimes, the greatest political crime in the history of our country, then we're going to get little satisfaction unless I win, and we'll have to go because I won't forget it. So he's saying to his Attorney General, he won't forget this, just like, on the street, say, I won't forget this, So anyway, all right, so here's the cartoon, and here is emulating the scene from Ben-Hur when they were fighting the Carthaginians, and they came across, and Ben-Hur was on this ship as a slave rower, and we keep you alive to serve this ship. Remember that? So this is supposed to be Trump playing the role as that of the tribune, or it wasn't a tribune, whatever he was, the council. He was a council to the head of the Roman Empire, a council who commanded the ship. And here is Barr as Judah Ben-Hur. That's how I did it. He watched the movie right after speaking to Trump. So anyway, Trump goes like this. This was a real number that they used in the movie. And Trump says here, "What is your number, 41?" And Barr answers, and then he answers back, "William P. Barr." And then here's Trump as the consul commanding the ship. He says, "I want extra locks on this man. He's going down with his ship." There it is. And there you see Barr asleep having a dream. See, he's dreaming about this happening after he saw the movie. So that's the cartoon. In actuality, what happened in the movie is the consul unlocked Ben-Hur, and Ben-Hur ended up saving the life of the consul. And then he went and they took him in the Roman Empire, and then he went back to see his family again, reunited. the whole, like, you see the movie. I'm not here to review the Ben-Hur, but I want you to see the whole thing here. You know, that's Attorney General Barr rowing the water, and that's how that went. Okay. Now, here is numero dos, number two. Okay, here's President Trump on the balcony when he came back from the hospital the other day. Okay, and there's Rudy Giuliani. He's watching this. He's there watching, the only person up close watching. He's up there. And Rudy Giuliani says, you see, he took off his mask. That was the whole thing. The president, he left his Chevy, his black Chevy Suburban, got out with the mask, and he went up to the balcony, took a mask off the balcony, and there he was with his, you know, so there he was with the American flag, and this is Rudy Giuliani right here, and Rudy Giuliani, you can read that. Rudy Giuliani says, "That's showing them, Donald. On 9/11, I took my mask off too, and nobody got sick from me." Well, you know, it's 9/11 was, you had all these chemicals and disaster there, so nobody got sick from Rudy. So I guess that's the way he would rationalize or support the president as a joke, you know. So again, this is all meant to inform you what happened with a joke, not to try to get you to vote either way or anything. This is just a joke, and you decide. You're the boss. And this is just a joke that I thought up of here. Okay. All right. Here is to watching President Trump from the rear seat of a black Suburban. Okay, this is Dr. Anthony Fauci, a world-renowned doctor in the area of infectious diseases, and on the task force, on the White House task force, very influential and very smart and very straightforward. And he always says what he feels scientifically is true. And so I drew him watching President Trump here, watching President Trump waving to his supporters when he took the Sunday drive around the hospital the other day. So Anthony Fauci's home, watching this on his TV as President Trump, with all the security agents in his car. He decides he wants to take a spin around the hospital grounds in, again, black Suburban. So here's Anthony Fauci watching that on TV, and he's a little bit upset, and he says, "Thank God he's wearing a mask. I didn't call in his motorcycle folks to participate in this COVID parade." So again, it's a humor here, you know, it's a little sardonic, perhaps, a little, you know, but this is just to inform you, and again, you decide on how you interpret this cartoon. But that's, again, okay, Anthony Fauci was not too, I'm sure in reality, he was not too happy seeing President Trump going out with his Secret Serviceman, getting in the car and after having this contagious COVID-19 business, and just so soon. So anyway, you decide. Okay, now here, again, I've always used the analogy I drew on what I used to watch when I was in my younger days, Archie, the All in the Family show. There's Archie Bunker and there's Mike, okay, and they're together watching what happened here in bringing back Archie Bunker, given when moderator Chris Wallace asked President Trump whether he would condemn white supremacists. The president then asked who he was to condemn. Biden then twice said Proud Boys. To that, the president said, "Proud Boys, stand back and stand by." Now, you interpret that the way you want to interpret. This is the joke, and you take it from there. Stand back and stand by. So then I used to watch that show, you know, it was on Saturday nights around, I think around 8 o'clock. You know, it was, I always used to watch that. It was, I think, right before Mary Tyler Moore. You had All in the Family, and then you had Mary Tyler Moore coming right after it. So it was a good hour of really good television. So anyway, so here is, this is Mike here. This is Mike, and he says, saying to Archie, "There it is, Arch. Trump's a racist. He just told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by." And here is Archie Bunker responding to that. And he's saying, "Now wait a minute, meathead. In the Green Berets, when John Wayne went behind enemy lines to fight your Viet Cong, he ordered his men to just stand by all the damn time. And he was proud to be an American." So he had his own Archie had his own interpretation on things, you might say. So I drew him and Mike as they would appear. Somebody wrote that. Norman Lear, I think, produced that show. How he might have written it in today's world of 2020. That happened now, and he wanted to bring that out in the same spirit. You think, you decide. All kinds of people, I'm sure, watched All in the Family, and people had, different reactions, and it was all different cross-section. That's why the show went on for so many years, it was so popular. So I do that in the same spirit, in a way. You decide how you want to interpret that one. And all of them, actually, on the books. So anyway, now here is, unfortunately, we wish that, here is Chris Christie. Okay, Chris Christie with Giuliani, and they coached President Trump for the debate with Biden. So that didn't go too well for the president, the debate. He took a hit in the polls. So they're watching, this is in real time as they're both sitting together to see how well their coaching efforts would pay off. So I drew it like that, and they're watching the debate, you see, both of them watching. This was before, before Chris Christie came down with COVID-19. He was, I guess, he was at the events there, in the Rose Garden or whatever, and he came down, he caught it, and we wish Chris Christie the best, all the best. I hope he recovers, really do that, and really hope so. Wish you the best, former Governor Christie, New Jersey. And here is the cartoon. So here goes Chris Christie. Okay. Okay. Trump is hotter than the California wildfires. This is giving me gas pain. I should have never have eaten those large bags of M&Ms before the debate. I'm shutting down the volume so we can say we at least watched it. And here is Rudy saying, here comes Rudy, and Rudy responds saying, "I got a bad sudden headache." You see, he's got a headache there, he's holding his head and everything. "I got a bad sudden, check out the History Channel. Maybe we'll see some clips from 9/11. No, maybe 9/11 is bad and horrible as it was, at least to get his mind off of watching the efforts that he put. I'm sure they put a lot of effort into trying to coach President Trump to hold his guns and to just stand by his guns and not fire the guns. But he kind of just fired a lot of stuff. So anyway, so that's Rudy Giuliani. That's, again, you take it as you interpret it. Okay. Now, here is Trump election night. Now, the president has made no secrets over the fact that if he is not victorious, the only way he could not be victorious is if there's mail fraud, and he's concerned that he wants the Supreme Court, take it to the Supreme Court, and when he gets his new Supreme Court justice in, Amy Barrett, in there, that she'll do the right thing by President Trump, and go forward with her decision. He's leaning with his, and he has now three justices that he's appointed. So anyway, this is based upon that, what President Trump's, for his own words, as always, what he said. Basically, Trump election night vision. This is his vision on election night. his Supreme Court replacement for Justice Ginsburg. You see, she passed away. She was a liberal justice on the Supreme Court. You want a balanced Supreme Court, the way you want anything has to be balanced in this world. A balanced diet. You want a balanced Supreme Court. You want a balanced a government where you have everybody, pluralistic government where you have everybody's view, and if you have one side or other side, you could easily miss the boat in terms of serving the American people. So anyway, this is the danger of that. So anyway, replacement just now on the bench. So in this cartoon, Amy Barrett is already on the bench, and it's election night, and it's a close race. It doesn't seem like it's going to be close now, but when I did this, it seemed like it was going to be a very close race. So amid, as experts had predicted, an election night still too close to call, given the president has said that he is counting on the federal court system. No, he says he's counting on the federal court system to count the votes. You see, to count, not to count, to look at it and analyze it for legality and so forth, as the prospect of the election being decided by the Supreme Court looms. So here, this is a little bit there. You see, so what I've done here is this is the majority leader, the minority leader in the Senate, Chuck Schumer here. So I drew Chuck Schumer, and here's President Trump. Okay, on the election night, and here's President Trump talking to the Supreme Court, going at night, and he's talking, but then it would be dark, around 5:30 or so. Okay, so I'm counting on my fantastic justices who I appointed to save America from the liberal Democrats like Crying Chuck here, Crying Chuck Schumer. He calls him, that's his name, Crying Chuck Schumer. That's his name, Crying Chuck. A little alliteration there, Crying Chuck. Okay, Crying Chuck here, who some people say is now planning to stack your beautiful Supreme Court. Now he's saying this about Chuck Schumer, who some people say is planning to stack your Supreme Court with 5 relatives of Cory Booker, because he's saying that before President Trump had said that Cory Booker was coming into all these neighborhoods and he's going to be leading the charge to destroy the suburbs and the great, and all the beautiful aspects of the suburbs. It was all being led by Cory Booker, who's going to be in charge of just bringing down the suburbs with crime and with vandalism and you can imagine. It's not hard to imagine, so I'll leave it to your imagination. So he's saying now he's going to expand that on saying that the Democrats are going to add seats to the court, and they're going to have 5 seats, and it's all going to be filled by relatives of Cory Booker. They're going to push in the whole family, 5 family members of Cory Booker, So anybody you can point anybody to the Supreme Court with those added seats that they're threatening. So there's always a ring of truth to the joke, but again, I say to you, you decide, Okay. Now, this is Trump's warp speed vaccine. Now, I don't think I even have to read this to you, because the story is that the president is now talking about bypassing by the FDA regulations they want to do a little extra before they get it out to the public, and President Trump is basically saying that he trusts the drug companies to really do their job in monitoring things, trust the drug companies. So, I mean, how many times you hear recalls and this and that, So, I mean, it happens. Nobody's infallible. So I'm not saying the drug companies would be, but nobody's infallible. And the more checks you have on something, the better chances you've got. Especially in a thing like this where you're giving it out to the whole country. It's not like a measles vaccine or even a flu. This is going to be on a mass level. This could destroy the country, really, worse than the virus if it's a bad thing. You have, God only knows. So you would never want, in my opinion, you would never want to short circuit that process that the FDA, the Federal Drug Administration, wants to do. But President Trump says no. He trusts the drug companies. So on that way, whichever drug comes first, and this is a while ago before we had anything in the ballpark like we have now. Now this was September 21st. So we've come a long way in a few weeks with that. So this would be a little out of date in a way, but nevertheless, it's a joke, and take it as a joke, and you decide. So here it is. He has a dream about an article. President Trump dreams this, and he dreams this article from the New York Times. The New York Times, Trump's warp speed vaccine, My Pillow drug wins. That was when he was, the president was taunting this drug from the My Pillow man, and he's saying he had a drug that could treat the coronavirus from a very poisonous plant that he had, and that's what it was derived from a poisonous plant, the drug that My Pillow, the guy in My Pillow was advocating, So again, it was just, and then he says, backed by fantastic, My Pillow drug wins, backed by fantastic studies, ready to go in October. So, of course, now we do have some really things that have worked. The president is now, instead of touting that, he's touting himself because he took this one thing that helped him. We took 3 or 4, and he's saying, well, this one thing that he's really gung-ho really helped him, he wants everybody to take. And he's like the one, he represents 100 million people in his oneself, so there's no experimental validity to saying, to say that, except he feels so strongly about it that he feels that this drug, a cocktail of drugs that he took, he singled out one of them that was really a miracle cure and gift from God. So I don't think he would have said that anything from My Pillow drug company, My Pillow, was a gift from God. So again, this is a little outdated, but again, just think about it, and you decide. Okay, now here is a Trump election night vision. Okay, now this is based on the president feeling that, again, going back to the fact that the president, and along with the vice president. Now, Vice President Pence was up there the other night, and he had a chance to really clarify something. Instead of clarifying it, you could have mitigated it. It was a pretty bad thing to say he wouldn't accept the transfer power, but he could have defended, instead of defending it or did this that. He took the two paths merged. So he took the path of diversion. He took the other path where he didn't answer the question. Kamala Harris did the same thing on another question. But the question is, on this is our country. We're talking about the whole country hangs on our vote and confidence in the vote. This is not a question of a small thing. This is it. This is the ball game. Nobody has confidence in elections. Nobody votes. We don't have a country no more. Can't elect. So anybody can do what they want. So this to take to an evasive action on this, it's not a good thing in my view. But again, don't take it from me. You decide. So this is what I kind of did here. This is like going back to the War of 1812, where the British burned the White House in 1812, when that was like called the Second Revolutionary War, because we were fighting the British on American soil. So I did this where President Trump somehow gets a hold of all the ballots, and he lights like a fire, and he burns all the ballots in front of the White House, and there's President Trump here, burning all the ballots. And he's saying, this fantastic fire burning of ballots will go down in history as the first fire on the grounds of the White House since the British burned it during the War of 1812. That was considered the Second War of American Independence. I am leading America's third war of independence against the liberal Dems. So again, the president not only doesn't have confidence, he feels this is a conspiracy by the liberal Dems to pollute our voting system with all these, not absentee. He said absentee ballots are okay because, again, he's saying the other kind of votes where they send it out to people and this and that. But they say they have controls on this, and this has been done all along, and the head of the FBI said there's no evidence of this. There's not one single, there's no evidence real. You have these things where somebody dropped a few ballots, maybe they fell into a well, or they fell into a garbage can or something like that, but that's not the same thing as saying the whole system is screwed up. This did happen, they had an incident, so Trump jumped on that, President Trump jumped on that to make this as an example, but it really is an example because it's not a systemic thing. President Trump is saying it's the greatest fraud in the history of our nation, and this and that, you know, because of a few things that ballots that ended up in a garbage can, you know. So, I mean, that's, so it's you decide. I'm just telling you the facts here. So there's a fire, and there's the ballots burning. There's President Trump saying that this is his bonfire in support, and his war against the liberal Democrats is to burn the ballots, and so that's the only way he could lose the election. Basically, if they had been really legitimate ballots, he's saying they would have voted for him. But they couldn't be legitimate because they didn't vote for the ballot. The ballots were so slanted towards the other person, Joe Biden, that it had to be a rigged election. He called it a rigged election. So anyway, you decide. So again, I put it to you as a cartoon with a joke, and you make the decision. Okay. Now here is another cartoon. Here, this is numero 9. Aquí, there it is. All right. Now, here, this cartoon, again, goes back onto the Supreme Court. Given Trump said the Supreme Court will intervene to look at the ballots in what he calls a rigged election, the president's 2 a.m. Supreme Court showdown with the ghost of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So in this cartoon, I have Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg up there in heaven, coming shooting down from heaven because she's getting so upset about President Trump driving a mail truck up to the Supreme Court with the ballots. You see, and so this is how it goes. This cartoon here goes like this. Okay, there's President Trump in the mail truck at 2 a.m. in the morning in front of the Supreme Court. He's driving up there, and here comes Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's swooping down there. Here she comes. There she is. And she says to the president, Donald, what brings you to the Supreme Court at 2 a.m. in the morning with that U.S. mail truck? And then Trump says, Justice Ghost Ginsburg, this U.S. mail truck is the property of the federal government, which I run, so you better haunt some of your liberal Democrats. You know, hang around your liberal Democrats, don't come by haunting me. You know, there it is. Okay, and there's the Supreme Court, here's President Trump, and the punchline is, here's Ruth Bader Ginsburg gets the last word on this one, the ghost of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Okay, and she says to him, Mr. President, I got here late because of bad weather. I just flew hundreds of thousands of mail-in ballots back to their states. So she took it upon herself to intercept those ballots wherever they were stored, took it, and as a ghost, flew them all back to the states where they came from. You are driving an empty truck. So here is this mail truck is empty, apparently. So that was the story here, kind of. President Trump, Supreme Court, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Okay, now, this was the #1 cartoon in terms of popularity on Twitter in a while, and so I saved it for the last, and I hope you enjoy this cartoon. I sure worked hard on it to make this United States of America Air Force One plane. Took me a long time to really get the configuration but here it is. Okay, there's Air Force One. And here, as it goes, Trump's conceivable thoughts as he boarded Air Force One Thursday to a Bedminster, New Jersey fundraiser and roundtable discussion with GOP donors who attended the gathering, which cost up to $250,000 per person and attended by about 100 people. Given President Trump knew that Hope Hicks, who is his very strong ally and aide to the president, one of his closest advisors, one of his close top senior advisors with whom the president had been in contact, tested positive for COVID-19. So when President Trump went out to this fundraiser, he knew that he had been professionally been with Hope Hicks on a professional level, and that he had found out that she had it. He didn't know he had it at the time. I'm sure they have said that. I'm not sure of anything when I don't make those assumptions, but the people, reliable sources, said they believe the president did not know at that time that he was afflicted with the virus. So leave that at peace. Now, the idea is, the idea that he could have gotten it from Hope Hicks, he could have gotten it from a lot of people. So you really can't prove that, You can't take the fingerprints of a virus and say, well, this one, that, this one, that. You can't, you're tracing it and this and that. So it's a very, we don't have that mechanism here in this country developed to do the tracing, and they don't want to do the tracing, apparently, because they don't want to know, they don't want to know the truth. So maybe not, and that's the way it appears they don't want to know the truth, because they're reluctant to do tracing. But anyway, the thing was that I took President Trump's thoughts, because he knew that I'm sure he knew there was a possibility that he could have had it. He downplayed it in his own mind, but it was there, that possibility. And as he was getting on the plane, he might have had these thoughts. So I'm gonna, again, this is Air Force One. Gee, I worked so hard. I'm drawing this plane. I just like to show it to you. This was a work to get. Okay, there's Air Force One, and here's again President Trump giving thumbs up as he approaches the plane, and he's saying, "If these disgusting people find out," President Trump had said to an author of a book who he had an interview with, that he found some of the people who donate he was glad he didn't have to shake hands with the disgusting people because of the COVID virus. I mean, he didn't say he was glad. He said it was one good aspect of the COVID virus, that he didn't have to shake hands with the disgusting people. He used the word disgusting. So again, I always inject things that I don't take them from outer space. I base it on the reality of what I hear and see, So anyway, I'm not even going to mention the name of the book or the man who interviewed him, because that's not significant. What's significant here is that President Trump said that, and I take this man at his word. He has a track record, and you have to take him at his word. So I took the liberty, not the liberty, but I took the right to represent that here, how he would be thinking. okay? So President Trump, as he boards the plane on the way to a fundraiser, they pay some people pay $250,000 per person to get exposed to the coronavirus, you know? So anyway, yeah, here's his thoughts. If these disgusting people find out about this, no more $250,000 per person. I won't even be able to sell them a MAGA, Make America Great Again, a MAGA hat. They could stop payment on their checks. Better have Mnuchin call the banks. That's my contact tracing. In other words, that's where he's be good at the contact tracing in stopping the people from stopping their checks. He could rush it through, say, sorry, we already paid out the money, can't do nothing about it. Hope you don't have COVID-19. Have a nice day. The bank people at the bank, you know. That's it, the money's out there, it's gone. Go talk to Mr. President, go talk to President Trump, tell him you are worried about coronavirus and you feel he should have told you and you want your money back because you're upset now, you know. That's what, you know. So anyway, folks, I just hope that that we make, at some point, we start making real progress into with this virus, and I know that it's gonna happen, and I'd like to think that regardless of who is elected president, that this country will come together behind that person and really work together to beat this thing, because that's the only way that we can beat it, is by working together. And I'm here in a room all by myself. I got my mask over there, but I'm all alone right here. Ain't nobody around in this room, all by myself, and there's nobody here. There's no, you know. So I wouldn't be talking to you like this if there was even a person right outside the door. So I'm doing my part to take care of myself, and taking care of yourself is the same thing as taking care of the country, because we are the sum of the country is the individual person. Every individual comprises, all come together. So I advise you, stay away from crowds and just do the best you can, and exercise and eat well, get plenty of sleep, and I really wish you all the best, and I look forward to seeing you again on my next cartoon countdown. Thank you, folks, and you all take care, and God bless America.